Hi Virgos, welcome. It's me, Parker. This is your reading from March 24th to April 6th. So we have a full moon. Also, I'm back. I've been away for a minute, but for the foreseeable future, I'm back. But enough about that. So you guys have a full moon in your sign on the day that this is being put out. So your energy, of course, is coming through in other readings. It's going to be that way for the next week or two. But I want to talk to you guys about me setting up for this reading today. So as I'm preparing to read for a sign, I'm kind of looking at my decks, and there's a couple decks that jump out at me, or at least one that I either has jump out at me, or I just, say, okay, I'm going with that deck, right? Today, it was like, oh, I could lead with that one. 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 And they all, like, almost all of my decks were like, this one, that one, this one, that one. Like, total analysis paralysis. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to start the reading, and then I'm going to sit with the Virgos as I'm talking, and then I'll pick a deck and kind of feel it out. And then I was like, no, you're just going to take this one. So with the full moon being in your sign, for some of you, of course, everyone's like going through their own ish and working through different timelines and energies. But I'm going to say for the Virgos that this reading is for, there's a bit of analysis paralysis going on, maybe some confusion or mental overwhelm, or things just don't feel very clear right now, or you're feeling indecisive or unsure of yourselves. And the fact that I was going to sit with the energy and then like, let's pick a deck together. And as soon as I was ready to hit record, like just before, I was like, nope, too late, I'm picking this one. That opportunity to act on something might be taken from you guys. And this is quite a specific message. It's just, with the total overwhelm, I almost was feeling like even if I had chosen to just sit with you guys and pick a deck, it would probably just feel the same way. So it almost feels like inaction, like energy's just gonna move. Especially with this full moon, it could be like a time is up energy, because cycles are trying to wrap out, and it's kind of like, crap, what do? I gotta make this decision, or this, I know I gotta act on this because it's wrapping out, but I really don't know what to do. And then stuff's just gonna happen and it's gonna move it along. That's kind of what it feels like for the group that I'm reading for right now. So let's find out why the romance angels. Yes, these are romance cards, but they also just have overarching energies in them. So let's have a look, Virgo. Also, we are like on, the very beginning stages of the astrological reset. And of course, Pisces is your opposite sign, or your shadow sign. Pisces season just wrapped out, and this full moon is the culmination of the astrological reset for this year. So there are some massive cycles that are trying to wrap out in terms of stepping into the new astrological cycle, right? And it may be overwhelming for you guys because this full moon is in your sign, right? We'll do 2 more shuffles. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. Ooh, interesting. What's up with Virgos? Ooh, it kind of wanted to go upside down. Engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. It kind of wanted to go upside down. I'm gonna put it sideways. We'll see what that's all about. It might not be your love life, like I said, although it certainly could be. These are the romance angels. But if it's not your love life, it could just be like something in your life is trying to ascend, and it's overwhelming. Is trying to ascend to a higher level. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Definitely looking Again, though, doesn't have to be a level. See what cards come out. I'm curious about this divine timing energy, but remember how this is totally par for the course of what I was just talking about. Like, shit, I gotta do something, I gotta move, I gotta make this decision, this is happening. And it's kind of like with that analysis paralysis, it's just gonna shift, right? And it could also, with that worth waiting for energy, be something that you guys were waiting for a long time, and it comes in really suddenly, and now you're not quite sure what to do or how to feel about it. That could be at play as well. But again, timing is at work here. Things are moving along. It's time to step forward, rise to this occasion, this commitment, match it, right? And then release your ex was showing. In general terms, that's like the time has come to clear your energy is what it says on the bottom, right? Because that was a lot of chaotic energy and unsureness. Oh, that's what I was gonna say too. Sometimes with that analysis, that is so funny. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pull that one out because I literally couldn't say it fast enough. Sometimes with like analysis paralysis, I know that like sometimes things seem overwhelming, especially with like big transitions and stuff, but it's kind of like maybe you're in a bit of a funk or you've got a lot going on in your life, and then all of a sudden you look around and your house is just like insanely messy. And you're like, okay, I gotta do this, but if I'm gonna do that, then I gotta do that, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that. It just becomes really overwhelming, and sometimes it's like I don't know where I'm going to start, or I don't actually have a plan. And I know Virgos, you guys tend to be very methodical or plan-based, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna do things a certain way, or you have an idea of how you want it to go, right? Sometimes we get mired in those details, and sometimes the best course of action is just to start somewhere, just to move with something, right? In your case, it could be like just saying yes or no to something. You don't necessarily have to knock the ball out of the park right from this first second. The first step is just saying yes to something or saying no to something. Or if it's like crap, this came out of nowhere, this is not how I pictured it, because the next thing was let go of control issues, allow the situation to unfold naturally. So it could be for some of you that you're trying to control the situation, and the message here is like divine timing is in control here, or something bigger is in control, or you need to give in to something. And you know, like maybe it's like this didn't show up the way I wanted it to. Sorry guys, I shook the camera. This didn't come in the way I wanted it to, or this isn't looking quite the way I want. There is some kind of control here too, especially if the situation presents and it's not the way you wanted it to, and you're like, oh, well, let me try and figure out how I can do this, you know what I mean? Instead of going with the flow a little bit, going with the flow. That's definitely at the heart of this, with this ascending to the next level of commitment with something. Rising to the occasion and not trying to control it or keep it down or bide your time. Let's look at let go of control issues. Ooh, okay. All right. That release card I was reading. Four of Wands, and it kind of wanted to come out sideways as well. Contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, the successful completion of a project. So in terms of allowing this situation to unfold naturally, contentment, peace, abundance, right? That's a comfortable energy, but this control issue energy is not. And again, this might not be you. Just because you're Virgo and you're like, you like to plan stuff or whatever doesn't necessarily mean it's you. But someone here is struggling with going with the flow, like I said, right? That contentment. It's a very comfortable energy, but it's also the card of building a foundation for success or a relationship or a home. And celebrating in that instead of like spinning your wheels and going, oh my God, this is happening, right? To the point where with that analysis paralysis, it's like, okay, we're putting down the foundation for the roof now. Where's your bricks? And they're like, oh crap, well, the plans came in and they're a little different than I wanted and I can't lay my bricks that way. Or like, I don't have bricks, but I have marble, like, you know what I mean? Kind of spinning their wheels instead of just going with the flow and saying, okay. Or again, with ascending to a higher level of commitment, this is committing to build something, to be shared with others. It's the foundation, right? That's like rising to the occasion and not worrying about it, not stressing so much about it. The successful completion of a project. So with that ascending to a higher level of commitment to like maybe also to like maybe some of you got a raise at a job and you feel underqualified for your position or you're not ready or something, and it's like, okay, it's like when you step into this role, next thing you know it'll have been like 15 years and you're like a total expert in that field, but you have to lay that foundation, right? I'm not saying it's totally like that because I'm not getting so much that it's a confidence issue, but more of like a control, things not rolling out, the bricks aren't stacking exactly how you wanted them to, or the timing is not what you wanted, right? Allow it to unfold naturally, and again, that contentment with that. King of Fire coming out sideways as well. That is control. Like King of Wands. It says motivational, idealistic, ambitious, charismatic. But look at that king riding that dragon. He is like, I am in control. And it's like, focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision, be a leader. Advice from someone creative. We have wands. Wands are action, wands are drive, ambition, passion, motivation, personal character. But with that focus, that getting mired in the details, right? Trying to control the outcome. This is also the card of rising to the occasion, right? And the King of Wands is fun. The King of Wands is charismatic and personable. You know, that focus, it just feels like that focusing on things. With the underlying energy, we had awakening, look at things from a different perspective. Strength is underneath that. Strength is coming out for everyone this week already. This is only the second reading. For the earth signs, there seems to be a common theme of releasing old tendencies, I'll put it that way, with that letting go of control issues. That's kind of almost exactly what Taurus had in their reading, and I mean, it's a full moon, so that's to be expected, but it's kind of like with this reading, the inner demon, or the inner, in this card it's a tiger, but in, you know, the strength card, the Empress is like taming the beast, right, with compassion and that contentment, right? But in this reading it feels like I'm wrestling the beast because I have to control the beast, I have to control the outcome, I have to subdue it, or I have to bide my time. For some of you, that's what I'm getting, right? It's like wrestling with that control. Awakening, look at things from a different perspective, a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. It's important to be yourself, and some of you, I think, are, or if this isn't you, another person, are kind of losing yourself in this process. Like, I don't want to say passing you by, but you're not enjoying the process. Whoever this is too busy getting mired in the details or stressing about it or wrestling with themselves, trying to control it. But this is also the card of hanging out. It's also Pisces, your opposite sign, as we head out of Pisces season. But it's the card of hanging out, seeing things from a different perspective. With the card that showed at the very beginning, where it was like, it's time to disconnect from the world, it might also be time to take your fingers out of something. If you're meddling, or if you're trying to exert control, like I said, over every way that that brick is laid, and just flowing with the circumstances, because this ascending to a higher level, right, is this focus, but divine timing at work, right? Again, some of you, this is just happening too fast, or it's not happening the way that you want it to. And then for some of you, look at things from a different perspective. A standstill, it's important to be yourself. For some of you, as you're wrestling with this like control issue stuff, this feels to me like that analysis paralysis too. That's the like hanging back, hanging by, biding your time, wrestling with the beast. And there's a level of non-acceptance with it. Like these two cards on like just to come out, I mean, that's an awesome combo. But like that would be like submission, right? But with this energy is kind of like there's an energy of grappling and an underlying energy of needing to surrender. And then on the other card that came out was release, the end of a phase or situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. It's time to move on from something. Some of you might also be trying to grasp at the old, and there's like this new, again, ascension of your circumstances. It could be business, could be love life, could be anything really, where you're rising to the occasion, or things are just changing, and it's time to let go of the old and move into the new. We have the Page of Cups also came out. This is interesting. Page of Cups is showing for Earth signs. Taurus had this as well. Intuitive, sensitive, artistic, friendly. Some of you guys too with that control issues and that kind of meddling energy. Like this can be a card of surrender, because it's like it's a page, it's a youthful energy as opposed to like an emperor, right? It's young, non-developed. It's kind of, to me, it just feels like that kind of surrendering to this process here and being open to it, instead of like those meddling fingers, I gotta do something, or not yet, right? Energy. Like this is like, I'm gonna dip my toes in the water, I'm gonna take out my cup and see what we're gonna fill it with next kind of energy. A new person enters your life, a relationship begins a new phase, heightened psychic abilities. For some of you, somebody's coming onto the scene maybe and disrupting the status quo or the way things are going. For some of you, you're the person stepping out on the scene. For some of you, this is like a total, like an actual relationship. Just someone new entering the picture. Maybe you're butting heads with them because they're bringing out change. The reason I say that, and let's not forget, of course, this could be an actual relationship with someone, like a romantic. We pulled out the romance angels, and with a relationship begins a new phase. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. For some of you, that is an actual love relationship, and they're very resistant to committing, or, you know, they're stressed about it or whatever, what have you. We talked about all the ways that that looked. But Two of Swords, unable, unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. Unable or unwilling to make a decision. Unable is that analysis paralysis, right? that standstill energy. There's a few groups I'm picking up on here, but for some of you, it's that energy of like, I'm unable to think, focus, I can't make a decision, unable to, that stress, right? Because again, maybe not going with the flow, and we have the wheel, which is that flow, and the world. I almost knew that that was going to be under there. That's the end. Something's over, something's done. A way of being in this relationship. It's evolving. Something's evolving here. And what was in place before is something shifting. You know, for some it's suddenly, for some it's been a while, and there's this stagnancy, right? But the wheel, that's flow. That's that go with the flow energy that we talked about. And it says here too, like a job well done, successful completion, contentment, finding that contentment with it too. For some, this was a situation that played out and you're not happy with how it transpired. You're not happy with how it played out too. And instead of jumping leaps and bounds forward into the next thing enthusiastically, you can't stop going over the details of the past. So that's there for some of you too. But positive change forward. Fortune is on your side. There's, again, contentment in there, right? That being okay with how things are going, being okay with how things played out, being okay with how the wheels are turning in this new level of commitment that you're stepping into. Unwilling to make a decision, that's those hands grabbing, touching everything, needing control energy. Right? So that's very distinct for some of you. And it can go hand in hand, but what that looks like, again, lack of focus, the unable to make a decision, the analysis paralysis due to lack of being able to be content to go with the flow. Or some of you are trying to control how a situation is playing out, or unable to move forward due to how a situation did play out. A stalemate, that stagnant energy, and pretending there's no problem. And for some of you, with that pretending there's no problem, that looks like the energy of like, I'm just over here biding my time, everything's good, right? Some of you may even be faking that you're content with the situation as well. Pretending there's no problem, that to me is that like analysis paralysis, that like I'm just gonna bide my time, that resistance to things, right? We're kind of refusing to let the chips fall where they may, or work with what you got, like you know, kind of not acknowledging that. So let's just pull one more card. I was going to use this deck, but I did not end up using it. King of Cups. Interesting. Let's just pull one more card for Virgo to wrap up the reading. Advice for Virgo with this energy. Thank you. Yes, okay. So some of you, this is confidence for sure, but the Nine of Swords showed challenging information, delays or changes to plans, expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, sleepless nights. See how that person is sitting up and all the other unicorns are like sleeping? Like they're up at night thinking about this, stressing about this, while everyone else is like getting a nice rested sleep to put in the work for the next day or what have you, just to be. They're up stressing about it. And that's kind of tying into this kind of still mired in the details, you know, so worried about it while everyone else is content kind of energy, right? That chaotic mental energy, and then allowing to unfold naturally. That's a lot of worry about it, but deception, someone is wearing a false mask in this relationship. I'm kind of seeing that as you guys, because we did have the card of, it's important to be yourself, right? it is important to be yourself. I totally lost the message. I got distracted by this energy here. And there's a lot of there's that comfort, right? That contentment, right? You know, this person is stressing. They're not feeling comfortable with the situation, comfortable with the next step, comfortable with how something played out. But I'm not going to necessarily say they're faking it to the people around them, but there's a certain, like, confidence, or, like, this is a very confident energy. Like, the King of Fire can take anything on and flow like flame into the next thing, right? Confidently, enthusiastically, charismatic. Thank you. I think some of you are actually getting lost in this too, in terms of like your personality. Like with that analysis paralysis, you're not jumping. Like when this first came out, the King, I was like, some of you are kind of getting mired in these details to the point where, I don't want to say it's passing you by, but you're not meeting this opportunity in the way that you'd like to, or maybe you should, or what's required of you. You're having a hard time going with that flow. And in that, because you're not comfortable, you or this person are not comfortable with the situation or how things are playing out or did play out, you or this person don't feel comfortable within yourselves taking the next step, right? It's kind of that trying to grasp thing, right? So I'm gonna leave it at that, Virgo. I wish you guys all the best. I know this is an intense time. Like I said, we are wrapping out the current, we did just wrap out, like we're, you know, in Aries season now. So of course it's going to be intense. It is your guys' full moon. So I wish you guys all the best with this energy. Remember, go with the flow, find contentment where you can. I know it's easier said than done. But yeah, hopefully this message was able to help you guys in some way. All right, so until we meet again, Virgos, take care. Bye-bye.